Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Daryl Worley to Eagles trade in exchange for wide receiver Torrey Smith. This is a scoop that was delivered by Adam Schefter on Twitter, so you can kind of get the scoop there. Not a lot of other details from the trade have emerged. However, it seems like almost a straight-up trade for the cornerback from the Carolina Panthers, Daryl Worley, to the Philadelphia Eagles for Torrey Smith. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about different analytics in order to judge who wins in this trade, because every time a trade gets done, people want to know who got the better end of the trade. And in this video, we're going to be looking at the pre-draft profiles of Daryl Worley from an analytical perspective. We're also going to be looking at the pre-draft profile of Torrey Smith. And on top of that, we're going to be looking at what their actual NFL production has been over the course of their careers to give you some idea of who got the better end of the stick in terms of this particular deal. So first off, when you look at the data, and also all terms and definitions will be in the description. So if you're new to the channel and new to the work that I do, all that information will be in the description. So first off, we're going to start with Daryl Worley, cornerback out of the Carolina Panthers. When it came to his pre-draft profile coming out of college, he had a 65.18 solo tackle market share score, 71.37 pass deflection market share score. Based on data since the 1989 NFL draft class, he pretty much hits all the bottom end thresholds in terms of all-pro potential based on his production profile. He doesn't quite hit the averages in terms of solo tackle data or the averages in terms of all-pro data when it comes to his other sort of data. So he basically hits the bottom end thresholds, but he doesn't quite hit the averages, but it's still very good overall production. And then, of course, when you get to his athleticism data, he had a 76.84 explosive lower body strength score, 28.23 speed score, and 63.22 flexibility score. Every single number here is pretty good except for the speed score. The speed score is fairly low. There's only been a couple of cornerbacks that have been able to hit All-Pro or Pro Bowl conditions who hit a speed score that low. But this is where we get into the similarities, or at least why I think the Philadelphia Eagles made this trade, is because when you look at the striking similarities between Daryl Worley and Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman is basically in the chart right here. It shows his explosive lower body strength score, his speed score, and his flexibility score. And in this case, Daryl Worley is a little bit better than Richard Sherman in terms of explosiveness. Speed score is very similar between the two, and Worley's actually a little bit more flexible than Richard Sherman in terms of his overall data. So from an athleticism standpoint, you're basically getting Richard Sherman, but more flexible as an athlete. And on top of that, lengthwise, very similar in terms of arm length. In fact, Daryl Worley has longer arms. Daryl Worley had 33 and 3/8 inch arm length, whereas Richard Sherman only had 32-inch arm length. So if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you're looking at this, if you're Howie Roseman and you're making this trade, you're basically trading for a cornerback that has the athletic profile of a Richard Sherman. And on top of that, his production is not too shabby either. This has been Daryl Worley's market share production on the Carolina Panthers over the last couple of years. Very, very high solo tackle data. Pretty decent interception market share, especially in 2017, and also pretty good pass deflection market share in terms of 2017 as well. In fact, he was a 95.08 total impact player in 2017, and he was only 22 years old when that happened. So again, you're basically getting a younger, more athletic potential version of Richard Sherman in many ways when you just look at it from a data perspective. And I'm not saying that he is Richard Sherman, but what I am saying is that from an athletic standpoint, from a production standpoint, from every other standpoint, you're basically getting a young cornerback with a bright future when you look at his production data and when you look at his athleticism data. Almost akin to a Richard Sherman-esque type of player. On the flip side, you have Torrey Smith. So we're going to get into his pre-draft profile right now. Torrey Smith, coming out of Maryland, had an 89.95 passing yardage market share production score, which is very good in terms of all the high-quality outcomes. 5-time All-Pro, 3-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowl, and long-term starter. He hit all those areas pretty well. Then, of course, you look at the averages at the position, hit more of the Pro Bowl averages versus the All-Pro averages, but still very, very good in terms of his overall production coming out. And then when you look at his athleticism data, fantastic athlete, 93.78 in terms of explosiveness, 88.68 in terms of speed, and 93.93 in terms of flexibility. The issue with Torrey Smith in this trade is that Torrey Smith has not had the best back half of his career. When you look at his NFL production, so MSPY is his passing yardage market share and MSY is total market share. As you can clearly see, from 2011 to 2013, Torrey Smith was a 80 to 90 plus percentile production guy. So essentially he was very, very productive from 2011 to 2013. Then his production took a dip in 2014 to 2015, 2016, career lows, and then 2017 when he was on the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a little bit better than his career low, but not by much. And he also wasn't the biggest impact on a team that was, of course, a Super Bowl bound team, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles. So in many ways, when you look at Torrey Smith, you see a guy that coming out of college had a very good production profile, was a tremendous athlete, had a very good start to his career from 2011 to 2013, and then just something happened. You know, and you can read into that however you want to read into it. But that is the issue with this trade, I think, from a data standpoint, is I think if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, and again, I don't know any other information about the trade other than what's been reported so far. I don't know if there was other draft picks involved, but if it was just a straight up Daryl Worley for Torrey Smith like trade, Daryl Worley is a 23-year-old cornerback coming off 2 very high-end seasons as a cornerback from a production standpoint with Richard Sherman level athleticism. Whereas Torrey Smith is a guy that had really great athleticism, really great production coming out, but is so far showing to slow down in the latter half of his career. So again, that's the issue with this trade in my mind, is that you have one guy who's a young player who seems to be on the rise from a data standpoint versus a player that was young and very productive, but is now sort of on the decline. So in that way, I would say that the Philadelphia Eagles won this trade from that perspective. Now, if they added draft picks to this trade, I think it would have made it a little bit better. You know, if they added, I don't know what they would have added, but if they added other picks or other players, I think that would have evened out this trade a little bit. I don't know how much Daryl Worley is valued by the Carolina Panthers. Of course, there's a new regime that's in there in many ways, so they kind of want to get rid of certain guys and put their guys in, so I can see it from that perspective as well. But the bottom line is I think if Torrey Smith does recapture what he was able to do from 2011 to 2013, then I think this is kind of a good trade. But the bottom line is I think the Philadelphia Eagles easily win this trade just from getting a very young player with a bright future versus letting go of a veteran that in many ways, if he hit the open market, I'm really not sure how much he'd actually be worth because of his decline that's happened so far in his career. So again, we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments section below, who do you believe won this trade? And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so that you're always reminded another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.